yeah, this thing, the entity name system, blah blah blah, is DTD format. This dynamic something. This example, we are gonna see like it fails. Why is it failing? Well, because it has this. It is the XML file is using DTD, and is using external entities. So this fails. Okay. So any comment or question? No. Okay. Let's go to the next point. That is format manipulation. You know, here, well, Java offers several ways to format strings, well, here we have the question: is there a way to trick the application into sharing internal information? Well, yes, it is if you didn't use the format properly. So in this example, if we run with the first, yeah. Oh, it was the XML. So
Oh, right. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so this is the output that we are looking for. That it says, okay, the input that you sent did not match the records, and the register card expires on the 23rd. So you can see here, I mean, if you are an external user receiving this error message, you know that the application is getting the proper data, I mean the real data from the card. How do you know it? Because there is the 23rd, right? And the input here was used what is in the string fake expiration date. So here, as soon as you see that, one question is, okay, can I trick that source code to tell me what the complete data is and not just one part, like what is the 23rd? And then, so we have an example of how to do that. So note here, we are including some, like, this is a way to tell Java to include some data in the response. So if we run this, note that the information, that the date that is defined in the calendar object is now included in the output, which, well, was not supposed to happen. It was supposed to show only the 23, but not the complete date. So what is the issue here? Can see the code again? Here the problem is that we are using input data as part of the string. Normally you don't want to do that, because in Java expects some format to be in the string, like this percentage something, which are basically instructions telling Java to write some string there. So you definitely don't want to use user input in the text, and that's why you can add parameters at the end. So here in the change that James is doing, you can see at the beginning we are telling to show a string, and then we are adding the information at the end. So if we run this, it is gonna fail, and it's a good thing. But it fails because cannot make the conversion. Yes, and it is so the invalid information is displayed as text, right? So so basically, by doing it in this way, your code is not gonna execute the input that is coming from the user. Okay. So that's it for format manipulation. So here we want to mention another couple of cases that, yeah, we need to be very careful when we use them. One is the Runtime.exec. This method executes commands, so you don't want to send invalidated data there. What is going to happen? Well, if user input makes it into this method without validation, you are gonna have a command injection basically, right? Well, that one thing. Then the next one about zip files. It's kind of complicated to validate zip files because they can be super big, and there are these what is called zip bombs, that are files that have content that the compression algorithms are very efficient to compress. So from huge quantities of information, if you put the proper data there, can end up being a very, very small file. And for example, here there is this 42.zip file that is 42 kilobytes of compressed data, but after you uncompress all that, it translates to 4.5 petabytes of data. So one file that big can kill a server, right? Yeah, so basically any functionality where you receive zip files and where you are uncompressing zip files, you need to be very, very careful. And so here the suggestion is to measure the size as you are uncompressing. Normally you want to go like by chunks of bytes, so you can know the size of the actual thing. Okay, and well,
yeah. So this kind of goes away from specific examples, but when you're developing applications, it's really good to do test-driven development. So basically, when you're creating new code, you have these kind of issues. You want to make sure that you're writing these test cases to look for these kind of issues before you actually do development. It saves you a lot of struggle later in life. So instead of realizing you have a cross-site scripting issue or like an issue importing XML files or zip files, you can figure that out during development, which makes things a lot faster. So the whole point of test-driven development is to write the test cases before you do anything. And while you're writing those, make sure you're doing the security test cases as well. Yeah.
Do you have any test case software or any tools you use in particular to make that a little bit easier for them?
To make test cases, I'm not sure, but we have a plugin that finds certain security issues that we were going to talk about. Yeah.
So. Well, never mind.
Yeah. So that's actually what next thing. So one thing that we're trying to use a lot at work is the Findbugs plugin. So the IDE that we're using to show you guys is IntelliJ. One of the plugins they have is called Findbugs. Once you install it, it's really easy to just right-click on something, go to Findbugs, and then you can analyze the entire module or the entire project, right? Or if it's a larger file, you can just do the one code that you scanned. Because this is just like a really small like test cases files, and there's only the two classes for like what a customer is to run the XML. There's no, actually, there's one. Oh. So like a formatting string problem, right? So this probably goes to, yeah. Okay, so this one is just like a code correctness issue, so it's not just security issues, it also shows you like proper ways to code, keeping to certain coding standards. So what this is complaining about is just like the type of argument you're supplying to a string formatter doesn't match. So if you're saying, hey, this is going to be an integer, we're supplying a string instead. So that's one example of how the Findbugs can help. But in more critical ways, Findbugs can help find things like missing validation on inputs, or if you have like an incorrect regex pattern that's going to take too long, it'll say like, hey, this is going to cause the application to slow down and suggest you to do something else. So this helps find a lot of security vulnerabilities while you're developing code, instead of having to release it out to production, have somebody complain about it, or worse yet, get hacked, and then having to go back, apologize, and fix it. So, yeah, why? Do you want to take this?
Yeah, well, here the point is like the sooner you find vulnerabilities or bugs, is better. I mean, of course, as the longer it takes, the more difficult and more costly it's gonna be to fix them. So normally it's a very good idea, like to catch them as soon as possible. That's why it's called to have these tools like Findbugs and those kind of things. And also, it's very good to have like this static security scanners. In the case of Findbugs, for example, well, it is for free, which is super cool and integrates very well with other free tools like Sonar. But it also has like some false positives, so sometimes it's also good to use like a commercial static scanner and to execute it like as frequently as it makes sense, maybe a couple of times per week, once per week. But yeah, so here the suggestion is to run this kind of tools as frequent as you do code review. Yeah, considering that the longer it takes to find them, the more costly it's going to be to fix them. Questions?
You mentioned Sonar. Are there some other tools that you use for doing static analysis?
Yeah, like, well, there are some very good tools like this Veracode. It's a commercial tool. Also, Fortify is very good.
Do you integrate that with the development process, or is that something that's done by separate group scanning later?
Well, it can be both, but the idea is to put it as close as possible to the development team. Yes, so for example, in Vertafore, something that we do is we automatically execute static scans twice per week. So the developers, they just receive the results. So that's very cool because as you're checking the code, in a couple of days you are gonna have feedback. And if you want like to get feedback sooner, you can just go and click the thing, run the scan and get the results. And that's very, very cool also, like to confirm that the vulnerabilities are fixed.
So that sounds like it's optional for them to go and check if they want to, but it's going to do it at least twice a week?
Yes, and they receive like the information through email. Yeah, it took some like internal development to do it, but well, I think it's a good suggestion to go. It works very well for us. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we want to mention two references. There are like very good references about secure coding in Java. These two books in particular are very good, or well, we like them. And there are also like, I don't know, blogs, the normal resources.
And the second one's from CERT also, isn't it?
For certification, not that I know. Like, well, for example, the first one is called Cert Oracle Secure Coding, but I don't think that's a certification. I think there's a certification from ISSA, but I don't think these books are like focusing to that certification.
But I mean, both of the books are from the SEI, Software Engineering Institute. CERT.
Well, I think the first one is from Oracle,
Okay.
and the second, I don't know from where is the second, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
People can Google that.
Yeah, sure, you can Google that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's all of it. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you have a talk lined up for next month?
Yes, I don't have it written down. Were you next month or no? Somebody else was.
No, it wasn't.
Did you
I can
scramble
no,
and
no.
get something for next one.
I have someone lined up. I just don't have it written down for which one's next month and the one for the month after that. It will be up on the website really soon. So, yeah, it'll be there. I'll tweet it out. So that's there.
Check your tweets.
Yeah, check tweets or misec.org. So
The Slack channel.
yeah, or the Slack channel if you're on Slack yet. So cool. Thanks.
Cool.
Hope everyone joined the streaming land. Sorry it was only a partial stream because for some reason it wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi.
Huh.
All I had to do was restart my Wi-Fi and everything was happy.
Huh. Okay.
It's
Hmm.
cool. You know.
That works. Yeah. Partial stream. All right.